arms wrapped around our interior design. Thank God there's a rescue mission on the way. So we want to thank her for taking time out to be with us today. She's an accomplished author. She is the CEO of Sherry Burton Ways, principal designer and CEO of SBW Aligned Expressions. Did I get that right, Sherry? And she's coming to us all the way from the East Coast, because we're on the West Coast, I have to say that. All the way from the West Coast. And we're going to be talking about her wonderful background in color, in interior design. She has certifications in feng shui. Oh gosh, my tongue is not swaying, Sherry, I'm sorry. But we're going to get this conversation started. Fred, have at it.
Yes, I want to say thank you to everyone watching live and on the replay, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're watching us and watching this. We want to say thank you. Sherry Burton Ways is an award-winning interior designer. So you know you're going to get some really good tips today on your private environment. She'll talk a little bit about her book and just some other things that help us think a little differently about our private environments and our interior space. So Sherry, I understand you won an award with Houzz, and for all of you who do not know, HOUZZ.com is a great place for you to enhance your space. So Sherry, tell us a little bit more about that, please.
Yes, and I just want to welcome and say thank you to both of you for allowing me to be on your program today, and I'm real excited, and I just want to say hello to everyone who's listening or watching, and just say, it's just such a blessing to be here today. Houzz, HOUZZ.com is just a wonderful resource for people interested in learning more about what they want in their interiors. I look to that, and I look to Pinterest as well as really great resources. And it's a great place to find a professional to help you with your design projects, no matter where you are in the country. And Houzz has just blown up through the years. Husband and wife started this platform because they were looking for things for their own home, and it's just exploded as a great social media tool for decorators and designers, architects, and the like, real estate as well. And each year, Houzz selects various designers and other professionals for what they call the Houzz Service Award, and there's the Houzz Design Award. So there's two of them. And I've been working for quite a number of years and have been on Houzz and have so many testimonials and pictures that people have copied off of my profile. I had 500 saves from various people, over 500 saves, and great testimonials. And this year, finally, I was selected to be one of the 2018 Service Award winners, and that was announced back in January. And it was kind of surprising to me because, I have like 2 different emails. And the one that's attached to that one, I hadn't really looked at in a while. And, I just happened, I might check it maybe once or twice a week, and then I checked it. And then there was this email there saying, did you know you won? And I'm like, I've been trying for that one for a long time. And I happened to look on it, and it was like, oh my God. So then, I just started putting it out, and it's interesting how much attention it has brought people's and have picked up several clients from that. People that have been like on the fence for a while, knew I was doing design, and then when I came out with that, I guess people felt more, like, oh, hey, she's in the game here. So it's been a wonderful experience, and it really is all about just being present and being there for your clients. And no matter what's going on in our lives, we have to be there, for the business people out there, for our clients, and really give them the top-notch service that they deserve. And listening to them is the first step to that. And so 2017 was a great year. And I have, lots of people to thank for that. And this year has just been amazing. I've just been really, really busy since the beginning of the year, working with various clients and getting new ones, more often than I had anticipated. I feel very blessed about that. So thank you so much for asking.
So I'm just want to say good morning to Janice, but there was a question I had for you. You were making a statement. I'm like, man, that's outstanding. Okay. Go ahead, Terry.
Well, I'm going to ask a question real quick because I was reading. Well, I read the book. I want you to know. Okay. But also, I wanted you to just recap a little bit about how you got into this, because I think it's really important to our audience about transitional spaces, when you're going through things.
Right.
You don't have to go deep, but just because some of them may not be familiar with who you are and how you got into this. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got into it?
Sure.
Because I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah. Okay, so I've been doing design work and looking at energy and things like that since, I guess it's been since 2004, something like that. And I started my first business at that time, and I wanted to combine, spirituality and combine design into one kind of business to kind of help people be able to be healed and feel good in their interior. And so I was studying interior design and studying feng shui and working full-time job someplace, and really started thinking about this as part of my alignment at that time. What I mean by that, my personal mission statement, who I am, what I'm about. And it grew into something before a lot of people, now everybody in grandmother talking about feng shui and going all these things together. But I was one of the first, particularly first woman of color, really talking about this on the Magic back in 2004. And people were, like, what is that? Or what are you talking about? So it was kind of interesting. So back forward, after several years of experimenting with this new approach to design, combining feng shui and some other things, I came up with a book back in 2012 called Feel Good Spaces, Decorating Your Home for the Body and Spirit. And that book took off as an Amazon bestseller. It's still to this day quoted. I'm quoted from that book. How to look at your environment from a standpoint of feeling and feeling good inside of it using color therapy.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Oh yeah, sure.
A little louder.
Yes. Yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay.
No, because I was like, okay, because you may need to repeat parts of that because it was very low, but tell us again. So you got into the space because?
Yeah, I got into what I do because of my own personal journey, really.
Mm-hmm.
And that journey really was about feeling good in my home, feeling good in my space. And that was because I was working on a job at the time when I started doing this design stuff, where I just did not feel fulfilled at my job. And I was dealing with a lot of things that most women shouldn't have to deal with on a job. But anyway, without going into detail.
Transition.
That's how the whole concept of what I call feel-good spaces came out, and I really built my business around understanding how we can use our homes as havens as opportunities for us to heal and recollect ourselves before we go back to the outer world. So that was what the first book was about back in 2012.
Yes.
So then this past year in 2017, I wrote a new book, was published, called Landing on Your Feet and Putting Down
Roots.
For transforming your life and your space. And that one was an amazing book, lots of color, but the whole idea of that book was, and still is, the concept of life transitions and life transformations, and how you can use sometimes mundane activities and sometimes intentional activities in your home to be able to create change for yourself. You know, everything from making your bed to journaling to entertaining in your home, decluttering. We cover it all. Aromatherapy, all of these things. And that was based on a personal experience that I had, you know, moving through a divorce and separation and divorce situation, and finding myself in a very strange world from
a different. Let's put it this way: we found ourselves in different environments. Having been through there, having had 3 contestants, I think I can feel your journey.
So that book was born from that. You know, we always create opportunities in the midst of chaos, so to speak, and that's what I did in that particular book. And it's doing well, and it's a different approach to looking at design and your environment. But it's all about, you know, working with your mental faculties, working with your self-confidence, feeling that your home can be something safe and secure and someplace where you can rejuvenate and get support. And that's something that a lot of people may not think about in their living environment. So that book is out now. It's available on Amazon.com and Freeze and Press, and also on my website, sherryburtonways.com. So I'm really excited about the book, and I was really, I think the last time I was on, I was talking about the book when it first
Yes.
So we're coming up on a year in June for that. So I'm really excited.
Well, I found the book very enlightening, and I think because it actually allowed me to rethink how I think about my home, because when you have a lot of chaos and as a result, a lot of transition that was unplanned, okay? Some people want to call it impromptu. I call it unplanned. It gave me a perspective. It let me get my home in perspective about what it can really give to me besides just shelter. Do you understand? Because when you've been through some things and you lose your shelter, you're just glad to be indoors. Okay.
Right.
So you have to have somebody, and that's why I like the fact that you said you're a design psychologist. Do you talk about the psychology of design?
Yeah.
Because some of this stuff is mental health. I was like, oh, okay, let me regroup and talk to see what Sherry has to say about this, because it's calming people. If you ever read the book, it helps you center yourself and get calm and rethink your environment. Can you talk about that? Can you speak to that, please?
Yeah. And you know, something, believe me, that is a real passion of mine. I recently have had to address some, you know, mental illness in my own family and in my own life, and really looking at this and really taking stock, particularly now in where we are in society right now. A lot of people are stressed. Okay. A lot of people are not feeling good about themselves. We're feeling frequencies of, I'm not trying to get real deep with you, but at the same time, I feel like I need to say this, that there's frequency out there that's really creating a truly negative environment for a lot of us, okay?
Okay.
So we are becoming more and more increasingly concerned about our mental well-being. You know, we've got people shooting schools, shooting each other. We have a lot of gun violence. We have a lot of.
We're trying to go to Starbucks. I mean,
we need to collectively work with ourselves, work with our environments to be able to feel good and safe. Now, more than ever, people are looking at ways, how can we become safer? How can we deal with these mental health issues that's going on right now? How do we introduce legislation around some of these things? So, you know, one of the things that you can do that you have control over, okay, we may not have control over a lot of things that are going on out there, but you do, for the most part, have control over your living environment. So how do we use that for our children? How can we create safe environments for our children? Okay, you know, how do we create that in their bedrooms? How do we create safe environments for women? How do we do it for men? How do we use colors? How do we use furnishings and layouts and things to create safe, wholesome environments for living?
okay.
What
I'm going to stop you there and ask you to just give us some things, because we're talking to business owners. Give us some things we can do in our, most of us work from home. Well, a lot of people watching the show right now or the replay may do their second business from home or their primary business. How can we make that environment?
Okay, can I, before you go down that over to there, I'm thinking if you don't have the private environment together at home, it's going to trickle over to the business.
Right, yeah.
So I think where Sherry was going with the private space is going to eventually
get us to the business space,
spill over to that other space, because if you don't have that,
it's a shared space too,
because you're not coming out of the house in good form if it's all crazy at home.
So what I was really going at was explaining this whole piece of design psychology and understanding psychologically how our environments affect us mentally, spiritually, and physically, right? So, you know, making sure that, you know, in our heads, in our minds, that wherever we're spending time in an indoor environment, since what 90% of our time on each day is in an indoor environment, right? Whether we are working in our homes, whether we're working at work, in a workplace environment. So we want to be able to psychologically feel good about ourselves in those environments so that we can, at the end of it, become more productive individuals. I was interviewed a couple of years ago by Forbes.com. If you Google me on Forbes.com, you'll find it. It was talking about the various ways that we can create productive interior environments in the workplace. Everything from plants. Yeah, I'm actually sitting in front of a plant. And how does the plant itself help us reduce blood pressure, for example? How does plants, you know, looking at them calms our you know, our sensibilities and our stress, those kind of things. So I'm hoping it can, okay, you can hear, okay, great. So, you know, plants is a really key aspect to wholesome environments, whether it's home or work. Color. Okay, color means so many different things. You know, you have various colors have various meanings depending on culturally and spiritually what they mean. You know, red can mean stop. in the United States, but it could be an auspicious color or a color of good luck in some place like China. Okay. So blues are very calming colors. So having those colors around makes us feel a little bit more, relaxed, so to speak. Yellow, okay, and golds and anything in that family are very, very productive colors. They're creative colors. It helps you, generate your mind. And that's really great in a work environment. So then those things, and then of course, lighting. Lighting is very important too, having a balance between natural light and, artificial light, and making sure that you don't have too much of one or the other that will be distracting to you in a work environment. What else can I say? Furniture, making sure you are sitting on ergonomic chairs, okay, that are comfortable. Particularly, there's a lot of people out there who have back problems and things like that, and you're sitting all day. Making sure you have a great chair and that it's propped up in such a way that you can see your screen and that, you're at eye level. And other things like taking breaks during the day, so you're not just constantly working, taking breaks, which, this is a hard thing for me personally, but taking, 10-minute breaks here and there, and resting your eyes a little bit, taking a walk outside if you can. Maybe not today. You're on the East Coast, or
yeah, I heard you guys have rain also. Yes.
So design psychology is really about understanding how the environment affects the mind.
Okay. All right.
Put it in a nutshell.
Yeah, I like that. How the environment affects the mind. And so using design psychology, we can change the way our mind is affected by redefining our space, our private environment, our business environment.
Right.
Beautiful. Oh, wow.
And, it's interesting because I love talking to you all, because I'm thinking of how to expand my work in this area.
How to expand your what, dear?
Her work.
My work in this area, because I'm interested in taking things to the next level, so to speak. And I'm in a period of transition right now, trying to decide which way I want this to go. And I got this really interesting letter. Actually, it was an email from a gentleman, and I posted it on my fan page. So if anybody's interested, look at my Facebook fan page and you'll see it. It's the last post I did. But it was based on this man's contemplation of buying my first book, Feel Good Spaces. And he was saying that he is trying to help his wife overcome depression. And is looking for resources to help him be able to move her out of that. And he said, what better way than to look at her environment? And I'm looking forward to reading this and getting key nuggets. And, after I read that, and the guy's name is Frank, and I've been so overwhelmed by that email that I'll be honest with you, I have not emailed him back yet, because I'm just thinking of the words, because it was so profound and so poetic how he wrote this thing. And he hadn't even bought the book yet, but he's like, these are the things I'm hoping for. And it just started jogging in my head like, wow, how can I use that? Because maybe that's a sign for something else. I don't know. But it's just, I've done a lot. And it's like I'm like ready for that next step to this process, because it's very, very important.
Yes, you have something to say, and you have genius to share. And Terry and I will be happy to talk to you offline about it, because there is some things that you can do for the next step. And we're talking about all of you out there. There is genius in you. And sometimes we just have to have some people to help us uncover it and like, oh, move the dirt. Oh, that's a diamond. Let me get in here and get that.
Yeah. So I'm
that's what we do.
To chatting with you all about that.
Okay. And we'll be happy to help you bring that out because I heard the design psychology. And I'm like, man, we need to hear this. And nobody is talking about it, especially in our community.
I was going to say, even in our community, nobody's really talking about mental health.
But not and mental health too. Okay, we get the clinical version of mental health, but nobody's talking to it on the I don't have to take a pill side of stuff.
Exactly.
And that needs to be done. Maybe you don't need a pill. Maybe you just need to put a plant over here. Or maybe you need, and I know it's not that simple.
Or move the clutter.
Yes.
Downsize, let some stuff go.
And there could be a lot of different reasons. Before you reach for Prozac, call Sherry Burton Ways.
I like it. And a partnership. I thought, a partnership with social workers and with physicians. I was just at a workshop for physicians, and first of all, they all need their environment improved. And, their offices. And,
oh my gosh!
And then they can afford to have interior design done at home because they're never home because they're working so many hours. So they need something to come home to that's relaxing. I just saw a lot of things. That's what Bitch Chicks does. You start talking and we just start.
We see stuff. And Terry, you are hitting the nail on the head. There is so much going on, and really, it does not take a pill, but they give you a pill because they don't know what else to do. When you go in, like you said, going into a doctor's office, it is very cold, very sterile, very. They
don't have time to deal with aesthetics. They're like, okay, I'm on a timer here. I got to do
15 people in the next 15 minutes. And I'm like,
exactly.
Okay, it's not working out that way. And Coach Karen said, good job, because this is a very important subject. And I think, Sherry, you are definitely on the right track. How do you help somebody through that process, through design psychology? And I'm like, man, that is another good book, Design Psychology 101.
Hey.
And what about
put down the Prozac?
Yeah, what about workshops? Because they're always having these vision board workshops. Well, if you are suffering through a transition, if you could stop and visualize the next step, even though you have to downsize, how could you create an environment in that smaller space that makes you smile when you come in it? That's a workshop.
What happens, I am doing something like that in June for people in the Maryland, D.C. area where I am. I'm doing a workshop called The Ultimate My Time Space.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's going to be at a day spa in Maryland, in Fulton, Maryland, called Pearl. And I'm really excited about it. It's my first time, working with them on this wellness program. And then we're going to do a series on feng shui probably this fall. So I'm really, really excited about it. And if those viewers are in the Maryland, D.C. area, please join my page, my Facebook fan page, and you'll learn more about that, or follow me on Instagram at Interior Environment Coach. And you'll learn more about that. It's going to be designed for the busy working woman, and trying to create space for herself to rejuvenate.
Nice.
Beautiful.
And I'm going to put in my little coaching thing here. Record it.
I will.
Record it, and then then we'll talk offline what you're going to do with that recording. But record that. Record everything. Just saying, right?
The Bitch Chicks, I don't know. that's our gift. We just you start talking, and we say, "Oh, I see this for you and that for you," and we can make that happen.
Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah,
yes.
and see, I'll tell you what I saw. I saw opportunity to collaborate with divorce attorneys, because women are going through that transition, and they need to be able to visualize themselves in another space so they don't freak out, if it doesn't go well, and in the process, if they have to downsize. So they could, instead of sending them to get more Prozac, they could send them to a workshop. You understand what I'm saying? And just include that in the fee. Just factor in these workshops, because when she comes in, you want that person to be stable enough to give you correct information.
Yeah.
So you don't have to use it, as a I don't know, a mental health session. We can actually get down to business, because they work through the real stuff that they need to do to survive.
And it could be, you're not it may not be depression. It just may be your environment.
Reality.
It could just be just a tweak in your environment can change the whole aspect. And see, Terry, I'm going to talk about this just a little bit. Sometimes I hear a hum in my house, and it's not, and I'm thinking, okay, is it me or is it something? I don't hear it anywhere but in the house. And it's like a vibration, and it's on my ear. And I'm like, what is that? Couldn't figure it out. And it every once in a while. And I'm thinking, okay, there's got to be something in the wiring or whatever. But how many other people are dealing with something in their house and they're not knowing what's going on in the house? Do you understand? It could be the squirrels are running across the roof or something, but there's stuff that happens in your house. And then depending on where you live, could there be something in the soil? There could be different things that are
affecting your environment.
Affecting your environment that you really couldn't put a finger on and say, oh, it's it's that red wall over there, or it's the whatever. You couldn't put your finger on it, but there's something going on. Is your house making you sick? Is your house doing things to you?
Right.
That's interesting.
I think and there's a lot of things, there's streams that run below, there's ways to douse for these kinds of energy, right? And there's also how far are you living from major power lines? Okay, those are issues to think about, as well as, like you said, your colors, the way that your furniture is situated. It could be a lot of different things. It could be, more. It sounds like more of an environmental problem than anything else, but these are things that, EMFs, I'm sorry, thank you. EMFs, thank you. Electromagnetic fields, which are the energies that are coming from your computer, from your television, all these things. And particularly if you have some of these things in your bedroom, you want to cover them or put them away in some way, because it affects you when you're trying to sleep.
Yep.
You can't do that. You can put, like, for example, I used to have in my bedroom, I used to have an armoire, okay? And I used to close the armoire where the television sat when I was getting ready for night. Now, maybe you don't have something like that. If you don't, then just put a sheet over it.
And see, people would not know that, because most people will just leave the television. It's not on.
Exactly.
But there's still stuff going on. Okay, we can't see the waves anyway. Okay, you can't see the radio waves when you turn your TV on, but the waves are still going back and forth through your house. Your receiver's just not on.
Exactly. Exactly.
But your box, your router is always going though too.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the electromagnetic field that is going on, and this might be explaining why some stuff happens. Like I can wear a watch that has a regular battery in it, and it's supposed to last for 2 years, and it doesn't last for 2 years on me.
Right. So, these are things that you want to pay attention to, because when we're talking about EMFs, we're talking about that there may be some links to EMFs and cancer. It hasn't been clinically proven, but there may be some relationships there, because I know that my mother, for example, before she died, she used to watch TV and sleep with the television on, in her bedroom. And she eventually got brain, cancer in her brain, which was starting to affect her with stroke and things like that. So, does it cause cancer? I'm not going to sit up here and say that, but there are some folks who believe that there's linkages with that. So you really want to be careful, even when you're trying to figure out, for example, where you're going to site your business, where your home office is situated, and things like that, and making sure that your environment is clean, healthy. I also like using aromatherapy. I'm a big aromatherapy fan, whether it's using scented candles or essential oils. There's various essential oils that help with productivity. The aromatherapy is what I call the perfume of an interior environment.
Yes.
So, we want to, once we get everything designed and your colors and all those things situated, you add the perfume last. Once it's cleaned up and looking pretty and shiny, because the aromatherapy helps us to be able to stay in alignment with what we're trying to do.
And along those lines, for all you people who are on this journey with us, and we are Christians, I'm going to tell you, God had his stuff about his aromas. You didn't come mixing up stuff. He had a certain smells that he enjoys. Right. There are certain, and then he always had things in order too.
Yes. Like the oils of frankincense and myrrh, that's in the Bible.
Yes.
Right? And other oils. So oils have been around for centuries.
Yes.
And used for healing and for, the upliftment of people.
Exactly.
So it's something that we all do. I do a workshop on essential oils in the Bible, and understanding the link of how these oils were used in ancient times, and how we can use them today to create environments for ourselves. So that's something that I offer if churches and so forth and different groups are interested.
I hear a podcast. I hear a podcast, and we will get you on. We will get you on.
I was thinking in the last 6 weeks about doing a podcast.
I'm going to help you get on a podcast.
Okay.
And Coach Karen, you too. Island Girl Hustle. We need to hear you.
Okay. Can we talk a little bit about the new book? Do you have? Can we talk a little bit about that? Putting down roots, landing on your. What is it? Landing on your feet and putting down roots.
Yeah, sure. What's your question?
Yeah, it's in there. You say you have 21 rituals.
Yes.
For transforming. Let me get this sentence. To transform your life and interior space, it provides simple, actionable strategies for adjusting to life after a transition of any kind. That's a big space.
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't been through transition? You know what I'm saying? saying, Sherry? I mean,
yeah. And it's funny because I'm increasingly talking to people about transitions every day. It's kind of ironic. So when I say rituals, rituals are loose, or it's a loose term as it pertains to this book, because rituals are sacred practices. Okay, so what I'm talking about with this book are just sacred, everyday, and some items that you have to think through. So I start out with, determining your intention, so to speak, and journaling, and more introspective things in your environment. I like that mug, by the way. I need one.
We have to get you one that says this.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So then we begin to talk about this whole idea of looking at what we can do when you're, okay, I'm going to take me as an example. When I split up from my ex-husband several years ago, I had to get out there and find a place to live, right? So, we are living in an environment when you're going through a transition, especially if you have to move to some place that's not familiar to you, is how do you get yourself comfortable? How do you get yourself feeling good? Even though you're going through so much, you're so much is happening in your world, in your life, and you're trying to just make sense of it all. So, what are some things that really are important to you to bring in to make you feel comfortable and safe and secure? And one of the first things that I began to do was think about the colors I wanted in my space, the type of environment I wanted. And then I learned a lot about myself. For example, that my design style had changed since I had gotten married.
Okay. I think it changes to accommodate other people. So
you're sharing space with someone, right?
Yes.
And and the person that I was married to was very dominant. I think I put that in there. That was pretty dominant about what he wanted and not wanted in that space. So a lot of things that I might have thought about,
exactly. I'm feeling you.
The other part of this thing too is that the environment that I live in now is architecturally or style-wise is much different and more contemporary. You see the lights up here, the recessed lights. The home that I lived in before was an older Cape Cod that was built in the 1930s.
Oh, that's very traditional, yes.
More traditional. So then the design style and the furnishings and things that we picked out for that space is much different than the space that I'm in now. I'm more of a contemporary kind of girl. I'm more of a Zen. I'm more, artistic. I love a lot of art around me. And I used to go into people's homes that were collected art. And I used to just drool, just looking at the stuff. It was just awesome. So I like a lot of fabrics and textures and textiles and, color and stuff like that. So when you're going through this transition, you are beginning to feel a little more about what is working for you, what's not working for you. One of the other things that I put into this book was things that were not so decorating oriented. Like, for example, entertaining in your home, making dinner, inviting people over, or having a night where you are, doing karaoke or what have you, entertainment. These kinds of things, because whenever you're going through a transition, it's always helpful to have people around you that support you through that. And why not, have them over for dinner and enjoy the company of them. The other thing that I go into in the book is not feeling like you have to have the design police, so to speak, monitor how you're decorating and making sure it's right. I have a chapter in there about Wabisabi, which is the Japanese concept of irregularity and, not being perfect, just kind of pulling together things that make sense to you. And even if it's a worn out wood in one place, like a wooden table or something, and something contemporary in another, or using something that's dear to you, like an antique or whatever, and mixing that up and having irregularities, you know, in your space. So you're not like feeling like, oh my God, everything has to be perfect and match and all of that. That's not the concept of it, is to really live with imperfection, because you are imperfect at that point of time because you are in the process of perfecting yourself. And it's okay to be imperfect during that process. So that's what Wabisabi reminds us of, and that's why I put that in the book.
I like living with imperfection because that is so true.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're working on some stuff. It is not going to be perfect. Go ahead.
Yeah, Francie, that artwork on the left, on my left, but I think it's on your right.
Mm-hmm.
Right frame. Yeah, where you're sitting in front of it.
Okay, the one with the New York.
No, the one.
No, the one with the frame.
Oh, that's a typewriter.
Okay, but there's something wabi-sabi about that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, it's simple.
And it's very simple, and it's got, if you looked at it closely, it looks like it has stains on it. It's old school typewriter, but it looks like it's stained or whatever. And I thought it was something wrong with it at the store. I'm like, what is wrong with this? And then I picked up another one.
You thought it was imperfect.
Yes. And I picked up another one. I'm like, oh, the same stains are on there. So that's how they wanted that. And I just wanted the old typewriter.
Right. So that's a good example of what we're talking about here, is displaying those kinds of things and reminding ourselves that, you know, what may seem imperfect doesn't necessarily mean that it is. It just is. You know what I'm doing?
Yeah, yes. I do. And Coach Karen says, imperfectly perfect is who I am, and I love me.
Exactly. And that's the way it reminds us of those kinds of things. So, you know, that's one of my favorite chapters in this book, because I interviewed a writer for, he was looking for understanding this whole concept of wabi-sabi as a her home office.
Wow.
And she had a shed in the backyard that turned into like a sweet office space. And she was talking to me because she was writing this article about this whole concept of wabi-sabi and how does she bring it into the space. So we walked through and I gave her some examples, one of which was her daughter did some artwork in school and having that framed somewhere and taking an old wooden desk and using that as her main desk. And, you know, just all kinds of things we came up with, and doing a little bit of decluttering and moving some things around. And that was a really interesting process for her, because here she was going through a transition. Her husband had moved from the West. They were living in, I think, Colorado or someplace out that way. And they moved to the Washington, D.C. area because of his job. And she was so missing her home, you know, because D.C. is a whole different environment. And part of that was getting her home office, you know, a place where she felt comfortable.
Touches of home.
Exactly. So it was just an awesome experience working with her on that.
Now, when I hear you talk about, say it again,
Wabi-sabi.
Wabi-sabi? Okay. I think the expression I often use when Francine and I talk is, it's not right, it's not wrong, it's just different.
Hey, love it.
You know, and it's okay. You know what I mean? We're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Just you got a different way of saying it. Or maybe we're not saying the same thing, and that's okay too.
Exactly.
Well, but I think we are saying the same thing. We are saying the same thing. We're looking at things from a different perspective that supports us in understanding the transitional process that we're going through in our lives. Because there is imperfection, and accepting that. Well, maybe we have or have not made the best decisions, but we are going to look at our lives much differently now. Okay, you know, it's not bad or good. It's just different.
It's different. It's just going to be different.
So
different.
So let's just look at that, because sometimes we short circuit on the imperfection. There is nothing on this planet that is perfect.
No.
And change is consistent. And I think this is not just about people who've been through divorces or whatever. This is just about people who are going through changes. People go through changes when they have health issues, they have job issues, they have family issues. Life is going to take you through some transitions. My grandma used to say, if you live long enough, Terry, you're going to need Jesus, okay?
And change doesn't have to be bad. It just needs to be managed. And
exactly.
And what Sherry has done is give us a way to manage the change. It's like, okay, I'm not in that space anymore. I'm in this one. How do I make this my space?
Right. And how do we make it work for us? You know, to make us feel inspired each and every day.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot to be uninspired about sometimes, but we have to look for ways that, you know, where's that silver lining? And I'm talking about to myself too right now. Where is that silver lining that makes us, you know, get up each day and move forward? Because, you know, there's various periods in our lives that we're undergoing something. Sometimes it lasts several years. Sometimes it's a month. Maybe it's only a day. Mm-hmm. But, you know, we can't escape it. No one escapes it.
No. Man, thank you, Sherry, for coming in today and just enlightening us, helping us feel a little bit lighter about our imperfections. And helping us just manage and think differently. That's what a coffee thought is about, to help us think differently about some things that we may have thought about, and helping us get our private environment back, because it really does shape our thoughts, which shapes our beliefs, which shapes our behaviors, and our behaviors are what we are living on right now.
That's right. That's right.
But if we can reframe our thoughts by just changing up the room.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's all it takes. It's maybe even rearranging the furniture, maybe changing out your artwork.
Yep.
Paint the wall. You know, these are just really simple things that don't cost money.
Exactly. And you don't have to take Prozac. Okay.
Take the Prozac money and buy a new pillow for the couch. I'm just saying. A plant for the corner.
Before you reach for the Prozac, call Sherry.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
So thank you, everybody watching live on the replay. Wherever you are watching, we do thank you so much. Be sure to follow Sherry at, tell me where we can find you, Sherry.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Interior Environ Coach. Okay. And you can find me on Facebook at Sherry Burton Ways Interior Environment Coach. Just search Sherry Burton Ways and you'll find my Facebook page. And,
okay.
I welcome you.
And your webpage is sherryburtonways.com, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Good.
The books that we talked about, one is called Feel Good Spaces, and the other one is Landing on Your Feet, Putting Down Roots. Both of those are available on Amazon.com, so feel free to look for those.
And we want to encourage you guys to get the book.
Yes, okay. Books, plural.
They're really good.
And then Coach Karen, thank you for commenting and being with us, and Janice that popped in, and anybody else who had just popped in. We want to thank you so very much. And we will talk to you tomorrow, where we'll be TJ online will be helping us with our social media and digital marketing strategies. So bring a pen and paper and get ready. You can follow us on everywhere, Biz Chicks. Our Twitter handles changed to Real Biz Chicks since people were trying to impersonate us. So we are Real Biz Chicks on Twitter. And I may go Real Biz Chicks on all of our platforms so I can make sure that you can find us when you need to find us.
But we're on YouTube now, and we want everybody
Biz
to know
Chicks
that
TV.
to follow us on YouTube.
Yes, please subscribe on our YouTube channel, Biz Chicks TV. If you type that in on Google, you will find us. Biz Chicks TV. Thank you so much. And I just want to say it's a great Monday. Go enjoy your coffee. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have some fun.
Okay, everybody. And don't forget to go to the front of your own line. See you later.
Bye-bye.